Naughty, naughty, naughty. Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, coming to you from Lewes in East Sussex at 6:31 down here. Don't know what time it is where you are. Very glad to have you anyway. Closer to the microphone so you can hear me. Come to think of it, better to listen to the music. And this is Buddy from Ben Sound. Already got the teeth into it. A mixed day again today outside, a few clouds, a little bit of sunny, but hopefully we're going to do some shooting on a documentary today, so let's cross our fingers. That's the trouble, when you get a minute late, then everything starts to cascade in, so you start to make mistakes. Ha ha! What a way to start the day. Never mind, here we go. It's Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, Lewes, East Sussex, broadcasting to the world. We may be a tiny town, but by golly, we've got a reach. And our television station, which is not only on the web, on our own website, www. Although nobody seems to bother with that much more. Mirador Television, all one word, miradortelevision.com, and do join us there. And Rouser Radio will be picked up there soon too, but also on Roku, the streaming channel that goes around the world, girdles the world. So that's us. And what do we do every morning at half an hour? Well, we have a little chat about a bit of this and a bit of that. And of course, I suppose the main concern is that the virus seems to be spiking again. So what is going to happen this Saturday? Because my tongue, along with the tongue of thousands of other Brits, have been hanging out, waiting for us to get it around a pint of wallop. Interesting language, because I'm a bit over the hill, I suppose. I wonder whether many people still use that term, a pint of wallop. And it was a good term, a term that we used in the 50s and the 60s to describe a decent pint of beer. And Lewes has actually got, this is a plug, of course it's a plug, why not? It's because it's its main economic staying point, if you like. And that is that we have Harvey's Brewery in Lewes, renowned throughout Britain and a good part of the world for its Harvey's Best. And Harvey's was started in 1790 and is still around today, having fought off another 16 breweries and a few dozen or so pubs. It's hit, like the rest of us, a bad time with this lockdown, but hopefully it's resilient enough to come back, and soon you can get your tongue around a nice pint of wallop, a nice pint of Harvey's. I must suggest that to the owner, Miles Jenner. Wallop. They do a number of fancy name things like Tom Paine and Bonfire and so on, all about local heroes and local events. But I wonder if he would be daring enough to have a pint of wallop. We'll try that. Perhaps we'll start a campaign. Bring back wallop. Okie dokie. Well, we've only got half an hour and we're already in 5 minutes of it. So let's take a little look at what we've got this morning. Well, a new one I picked up is the Golden... Oh, that was a bit somber, I thought. Let's try the Twister and see what that is all about. The Twister. I think that's got us going, hasn't it? It's a nice bit of jiggy. Oh, well, it looks as if this virus attack is really going to make life very difficult. I just said, looking forward to a pint of wallop. But I see that many pubs are refusing to open their doors on Super Saturday, as it was being known, this coming Saturday, when lockdown was going to ease and we could all go and have a pint. Basically the fear is that everybody's going to jam in, it'll be uncontrollable, everything will go down the hill, down the bucket, and we'll suddenly find ourselves in dreadful trouble, and the coppers will have to be called, and the whole thing will be a mess. So many pubs are being very cautious. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I actually have been having a little beer at a bus station buffet. It's only a bottled beer, but I've been able to, on a hot day, get one, sit outside and have a nice cold beer. And certainly nobody has been jamming up to that. So let's hope that common sense will prevail. Ha ha ha, I'm going to sound like the Prime Minister. I rely upon the common sense of the British people. Well, at one time we may have been known as a country with common sense, but I think that we are today not quite what we remember from the past century. We are not the common sense people. In fact, we're such a polyglot now that a lot of the things that we would have considered British, I suppose, have disappeared. Not that they've been replaced by bad things. On the contrary, it's always good to absorb things from other cultures, particularly food and drink and customs. Generally speaking, all the nonsense talked about immigration, most people that come to this country are fairly decent people, and they become neighbours, they get into a neighbourhood, and they become integrated. So, although we change, perhaps not necessarily for the worst, except that manners seem to have gone out of the window, but I think that's a generational thing. That's not anything to do with the fact that we're now a mixture. I think it's probably more to do with the fact that modern mores, modern society is quite different. But I wonder whether the virus, the coronavirus, the pop virus, as I call it, because corona was a fizzy pop when I was a boy. Oh, that's a good many years ago. I wonder if the coronavirus will actually change all that, because people are showing much more consideration. Yes, there are stories of rude people who burst in the lines at the supermarket and so on, but that hasn't been my experience. I've found people to be very, very kind and very courteous, and perhaps good old style courtesy is going to come back to us. But we must wait and see, because the Leicester, the Walker's Crisps people have suffered massively from a resurgence in the virus, and the government is warning that it's going to be touch and go as to whether it spikes again. And of course, there are all those silly people who rushed off to the beach on the very first day and rubbed shoulders with their neighbour. It can't happen to us. Immortality of youth, I can remember it well. And of course, exactly the opposite is happening, is they're spreading it again. So let's hope that it doesn't really get a grip and we have to go back into lockdown. I feel for the people of Leicester who look as if they are going to have to. In fact, they have already had to. And it's okay, we tolerated it, we got away with it, but it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. Great pity. Anyway, what shall we say? Yes, apparently if you're hopping off on holiday, and another thing that you're able to do, and whoopee, apparently some of the continental countries, particularly the Mediterranean countries, are slapping a virus tax on. So you go in and order a drink which would cost, say, £2, and you find that it's costing you £3.50 because there's a hefty virus tax on it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. All sorts of people do all sorts of things, don't they? Let's play another bit of music, because I suppose that you like to listen to that sort of thing. Of course you do, and why not? I think let's see what we've got here. We played Potato Deal yesterday. It was sort of fun. There's something called Runway Fashion, so we'll try that in a second. But just to say that going viral this morning is that a lady was being interviewed, a doctor was being interviewed from her home, of course, on the BBC yesterday, and in raced her children right in the middle of it. And on the odd occasion that has happened, and people love to see the children bursting in on a serious interview. The parents are embarrassed, the kids are charming, the audience love it. I don't have kids here, and it's a bit early anyway for them to burst in, but good for them. Broadcasting, in our opinion, is far too staid, and we tend to break the mould at Mirador Television. So do take a pop in to see us, miradortelevision.com, or if you're a nice modern person and you've got a smart TV, you'll find Roku on there, and that's where you'll find Mirador Television, on Roku, on smart TVs. Okay, shut up, Hayes. Keith Hayes, by the way, broadcasting on Rouser Radio from Lewes in East Sussex. And we're going to try Runway Fashion and see what that sounds like. Well, that's a bit repetitive. I'm not going to keep that up. Let's go to Blue Sky. Let's try a little bit of Blue Sky, because it's trying very hard out there this morning.